Muhammad lived in two cities, Mecca and Medina. In Mecca, he was a religious leader. In Medina, he transitions to become a political military leader. And so actually, the Quran has those two sets of verses, Meccan versus Medina verses. And so the Bible has an Old Testament and a New Testament. Old Testament has some violence, Moses and Joshua wiping out tribes. New Testament, Jesus and the apostles never killed anyone. What do we say? The later examples, the one we're going to follow, the more peaceful. Same way in Islam, only in reverse. Their peaceful verses came first when Muhammad was a religious leader in Mecca, and those verses are erased and superseded by the militant verses he gets in Medina. Now, why is that important? Because that's the strategy of the Muslim Brotherhood. Their idea is you first come into a host community as a Meccan Muslim, just as a religious Muslim. Now, there are lots of Muslims that are just religious, and they're, in a sense, backslidden from following Muhammad's example. They may even have centuries of being less violent, and that's good. But when they start following Muhammad's example again, we call that getting radicalized. Right? And so you see that the Muslim Brotherhood said, hey, there's lots of Muslims that are just religious. Let's pretend like we're a Meccan Muslim to infiltrate in. Well, then we grow in size, build a community, demand political accommodation, and then we begin to switch to a Medina Muslim and get violent. And so it's this three-stage. So the thought is all of these Syrian Muslim refugees that are being brought into America, spread out into cities, the communities aren't asking for them. I've been to Port Charlotte, Sarasota, to Boise, Idaho, to Cheyenne, Wyoming. These different cities are bringing in large numbers of Muslim immigrants. And the thought is, are we being set up for an Arab Spring? Are we bringing them in as quote-unquote religious refugees like Muhammad was when he first went to Medina? And then when they grow in size, are we being set up for the flip when they get told that they got to become political militant Muslims? And once the violence happens, then there's this cry for the government to come in and restore order, and the government says, okay, we're going to come in, take over your local police departments, set up oversight over all your sheriffs, and we're basically going to set up martial law. I hope that's not the case, but we are bringing them in, and understanding these two cities helps us to understand the two main phases of Islam. The first is this immigration infiltration phase, and then the second is the overthrowing of the government stage.